So hi guys, welcome to issue 18 and 19 of the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer. I think you're going to like this. Issue 18 is a bit of an odd one because it has a unit. Now normally units, the base size dictates what kind of how strong the units are. If you might have a large unit of small bases, that they're usually easy to kill, but there's lots of them. Your hero models tend to be a bigger base, and your monsters tend to be huge. This is a bit of a strange one for me. I've never seen this before. You've got five models, three different size bases. It's the Kunnin Krew, and then the second model is absolutely amazing. I absolutely promise you, it is brilliant. So, yeah, please watch and enjoy. I really enjoyed making this one. So, welcome to this week's video on Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer. In this video, we have two issues, 18 and 19. So, let's start by looking at the magazines. First, this is issue 18. We have the Kunnin Krew. So, we start off, index obviously. So, we have part 5 of the Stormcast Eternals. So, this is all about storm hosts. Stormcast Eternals are divided into armies known as storm hosts, each of which contains scores of armoured models united by common cause. Each storm host is legendary in the mortal realms. Then we have the Realm of the Beast Part 3, A Savage History. Then we go on to Part 11 of more detail about the Krew boys. And then we have a little table here. Lots of tables to roll about things. This one is reasons for battle. So, for example, if you roll a 3, excuse me, the Kunnin Krew are fighting alongside your war clan in order to get revenge on a Stormcast Eternal who spoiled their hunt. So then we have the how to build. Now, these ones are... I think these ones are... Yeah, so these are the these are the Kunnin Krew. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see there's 5 models this issue, and this is a push fit connection. I will be building one of these a little bit later. And then we go on to the how to paint. So we're going to need 5 colours. Remember that what we do is we paint using the colours. This won't give you a completed painted model. As you get more pots of paint in future issues, we'll then go back and continue painting. And as you know, I don't paint these, I just zenith will highlight them. I will be releasing bonus videos in the future where I will actually be painting them. It's just that I cannot get there's so much to do in each magazine. I can't get these painted in the time frame. So I will just be zenithal highlighting, and I'll paint them properly in future issues. So more painting. So there's about 21 stages on this one for painting, and this is what we should end up with once we finished, and they do look quite nice models actually. We have more rules on the Krew boys. These are the war scrolls. So 5-inch movement, 6 wounds, 7 bravery, 4+ to save, so they're actually quite tough to beat. And then we have the Zandri Truth Seekers. These are even tougher, look. 5 wounds, so 1 less wound, but they save on a 3. So even if you do hit and wound them, they still only got a 50-50 chance of killing them. Then we have more on the basics, part 16 of the basics. And we've got deploying for battle, battle of wits, deployment, and the turn. And now it's telling us about, yes. So we have received a new battle mat, I'm not going to open this up fully because A, the space, and B, it's exactly the same as a previous mat that we received in issue 1. If you cast your mind back to issue 1. So what this now means is that we now have a big, you see that there's a picture of mat 1 there. Now we have 2 mats, so now we can double the size of our battle, which, remember, we're receiving all these extra figures. So if you're playing this with a friend, you can now play, you're getting more and more figures and scenery, etc. So now you can actually have a larger battle. And then I won't show you the back, but it just goes into what's coming in future issues. So on to issue 19. This is the Gardus Steel Soul. This is a single figure. One tough figure, but one. So now we go into the Krew Boys part 5. This is just the information. War Magic. Now this is one thing that's always given me problems with Warhammer, is the magic phases. This is part of the reason why I always used to play Chaos, because they don't do magic. They have very powerful anti-magic properties. So it's, I've always played partly because I can't do them. I've had trouble with the magic phase. But this tells you all about the auric magic. Now, auric magic is unstable, dangerous, and powerful. Even the wisest mages struggle to resist such savage spellcraft. That's one of the fun things about aurics, is they're a little bit unpredictable. Their magic can work in favour, or you can actually make things worse. But they do have some nice wizard figures. More about the history, Sigmar Storm. And then we have a section here on destruction, Sons of Behemat. I do have trouble with some of the pronunciations. And then we have section 4 of Stormcast Eternals, Gardus Steel Soul. Another rolling table, so they have a reason for battle. So let's pick a random number, say 5. Gardus has joined your army in pursuit of an old enemy of his that is rumoured to be in the... God, I wish I hadn't picked a 5. The Gurish Heartlands. And then we have the how to build. Now this is, like I say, this is a single model, and this is a glue together model. This isn't a push fit. I'm a little bit happier with these glue ones, because I tend to find the fit is a bit better. But as you can see, like, it's only a single figure, but it's much more to do on that one figure. And then we have the how to paint, and we have sticky tack areas. Before you start painting, place a small blob of sticky tack on the bottom of his feet. This is so that you can take him off again, sub-assemblies. So we're using Lead Belcher black, gold, blue, Rathbone white, and then Agrax Earthshade. So we've got some more war scrolls. So he's got 6 wounds with a bravery of 10 and a saving of 3. So he's about as tough to beat as the earlier figures we talked about. Some more tutorials, some more things on the Krew boys, some more basics. So now we can just increase. And I've said this before, I do like the way they're doing these rules. In issue 1 they introduced a very, very simple set of rules. Then in issue 2 they've just added to that a little bit. Stage 1, issue 1, you were literally getting 2 figures and they were just fighting each other. Then perhaps they introduce movement, and then they're introducing charges. So now they're introducing slightly more rules. So it doesn't want to overwhelm you in one go, because there are a lot of rules to learn. And quite often I would play battles where I would do something and my opponent would say, "Oh, I didn't know they could do that." And it's like, yeah, because there's that many rules, I don't think it's really hard to remember all of them. I'd argue actually that maybe the winners of the battles are the ones who know the rules better rather than are better players. I mean, obviously top players, they have to be very good. So we've got another playthrough scenario, and then this section they're talking about a new battle mat from issue 21. New models, new paints, new scenery, exciting battle plans. Prepare to enter the sinister realm of shadow and continue your adventure in the mortal realms. Reinforce your army with war beasts, monsters, and 2 new factions. The Arcanic Gloomspite Gits and the Vengeful Slaveneth. Build, paint, and fight your way through the best games yet on a new battle mat. So yeah, it's saying the same again there. Combine your battle mat, and then we'll do this. We'll save this back page for the end of the video. Right, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to reintroduce issue 18. Now I've had some good feedback off one of my viewers, and he suggests that I'm actually speeding my videos up a little bit too much and you're not actually catching things. So the suggestion that's been made, which I think is a very good suggestion, is that if I need to do any speeding up, I only do the one model. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm only going to build the one model on camera, and then I will show you. I'll do the rest off camera, and then I'll show you them all once they're finished. So we start off with piece number 1. Be careful how you cut this one. There's a little tab there, and you want to keep that tab by the looks of it. Yes. So the plastic on these is very tough plastic. It's very, very good. But it does make your job of cutting off the sprue a little bit tougher. Has that all come off? Yeah, oh, there's missed a tab there. So piece number 1, and then piece number 4 and 5. I do struggle to find these pieces early on. Right, and I tend to cut the smaller pieces off, so where it looks a little bit weaker, we'll cut those off first. So you see there he's got a very thin bit there, so we'll cut that off. And don't think you have to cut everything from the same side of the sprue. If it's easier to come in from underneath, then cut it from underneath. There we go. So that's piece number 4 cut off, and then piece number 5 is just a small piece. Like I say, once I've cut a few of these off the sprue, they do get easier because there's less to look through. Right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to take these. Let me do a bit of a zoom in. So this has got to go in like, there should be a tab there somewhere, I guess. Like that. There we go, that looks good. And then have I missed some? That's odd, because that's going, that's not, I don't see why we have to attach this piece on step 1. This piece, yes. So this is a little bit fiddly because we've got this piece in the way. I'm sorry, I'm going to be all fingers and thumbs on this one. So this is going into that connection there. And this is why a lot of people take the tabs off and then glue them in, because it looks like this little, I can't get it in. Can't get it in the hole. Sometimes these little pegs are just slightly too wide for the hole. And on some of these models, there we go, that's gone in okay. Right, so it's saying to push that onto there, but at this point there's nothing holding it on. Obviously it's step 2, there's going to be something that's going to come and hold that in place. But for this step, it's not going to happen, is it? So then we want piece number 2 and 3. So 2 looks like a cloak. That's 2. And this is 3. This also looks like a cloak. So come in from the other side on this one. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit off camera there, I do apologise. So that's 3. So that wants to go behind. So there we go. Every time we touch this, it's going to fall off because it's not secured yet. So piece number 2 is going to come on. There we go. So we've got a little peg there. And that's going to go on. Might be easier. Yeah. So I'm going to just push that peg about halfway on. Then we'll reinsert this piece. And then we'll push that on. And that's starting to secure that top half now. In fact, actually, that top half still isn't in. I'm sure this piece will lock it in place. There we go. So now once we've got step 2 and 3 in place, then that's going to secure his top half in. Now, one of the advantages of a push-fit connection, I can see there that when it comes to painting his face, this little cage bit is going to get in the way. So we're probably going to go, oh yeah, I want to take that apart. So we can deassemble it a little bit. So that is the advantage of push fits. But the disadvantage, you can clearly see there, it does have it. Come out of focus, please. There we go. It does have a tendency. I still can't get a focus. There we go. It does have a tendency to give us seam lines, which isn't as good. Which is why a lot of people cut these pegs off and glue them in. Right, so we've just got one more stage left for this particular model, which is piece number 7, which is this piece here. And this looks like the top of his weapon. And I don't think I've seen weapons come in 2 parts in this way for a single figure. But saying that, it seems a very logical way to do it. There we go. Might just want to do a little bit of work on there where although maybe you don't. Okay, and then we'll finish that off with the base, which is number 6. Now tell me guys, do you like these bases where everything is moulded on the base? Like this. Right, see how this goes on. So it looks like, yes. So with the little peg that we didn't cut off in the first bit, that goes into there. And you see there's a little mould line there where his cloak goes. And then, oops, that doesn't want to go in. Why does that not want to go in? There we go. And as we place that in there, we also want to pop his weapon into the ground, like so. And that is the first model complete. And that is quite a nice model. I like that. There's a lot of detail. I have always said that if you go into the shop, I just noticed there's actually a crow on his shoulder. I didn't see that. The grey, what we call a grey army, it's very hard to spot the details sometimes. Okay, so that is the first model done on issue, I've forgotten what issue we're on. Issue 18. So what I'll do is I'll finish the rest of this sprue off camera, and then I'll show you, and then we'll make a start on the next issue. So the second model went together fairly well, and I actually quite like him. I quite like this weapon that he's got. That looks quite exciting. Some of the different techniques you can use for this could be, I mean, you could paint glow effects for that. or you could just do it a basic silver. Now the last three models, you'll see there that we've got three different size bases. Normally I've always found units have the same size base. It kind of tells you how tough something is. If you have a really tiny base, they tend to just be rank and file troops. If you have a massive base, you know it's a big monster. But you see there, the first model that I've built, it has this, I think that's a 40mm base. Then the second figure has a 30mm base. And then the last three, I think these are 20 or 25mm bases. But what I found quite interesting about them is, sorry, let me just do a bit of cleanup on there. So when it comes to putting the heads on, there is no number given for the actual piece. So I just moved on. I thought, well, there's no number, so I don't know which one it is. So I'll move on to I'll do the other two, and then whichever piece is left over, that must be the head for him. But then it did it with a second model, and then it occurred to me that what's going to happen is we're going to have three heads left over, which they'll all fit onto all of the models. So it just allows you to customize them a little bit. So you can actually choose. So if I like that head on this particular guy, just pop that on there. And these are difficult push fit connections, guys. I will tell you that for free. That might need a bit of sanding down on the pegs. You know, I'm going to go with that. It's going to give me a seam line, but yeah, we'll go with that one. Or maybe you don't like that one. Maybe you want to try a different head, see if it has a bit of a better fit. So this is the beauty of these interchangeable parts. Now this piece isn't going on. How interesting is that? So maybe they are specific heads. I don't know, guys. How strange. This piece didn't want to go on to there. I'm going to try this one on there. So either they've forgotten to number them. Yeah, that's not going on either. The peg is much smaller than the hole. And it's a tight fit there. Now that one's a really nice fit actually. So we're just having trouble with this one. Unless I've not cleaned the peg up enough. Left too much of the sprue on. Yep. So despite all of that, guys, despite being a push fit, we're still going to have to glue that head on. Because that isn't, as you can see, that it's not staying on properly. But they are. Because I put it on upside down, maybe. Yeah. Sorry, guys, I'm sorry. I actually put the head on upside down. And it fits fine. So, we've got one unit and we've got three different size bases, which I find quite interesting. Right, guys, so let's have a look at the next model. Okay, so this model is Gardus Steel Soul, and I do like that model. It's quite an actionable pose. You can kind of see it's a snapshot of him in action. And all of these pieces are going to be glue. We need to glue them together. So it's essential that we dry fit. And I can't even find the pieces on here. I'm looking for piece 3 and 4. So I found piece number 4. That's easy enough. And these are really heavy with detail. I mean, look at the detail on that there. That's quite amazing. All these little scrolls and things. So piece number 3 is this one. So let's cut the obvious pieces off first. And then we can look more closely. There we go. So this piece is going on somehow. There we go. they do feel nice once they go into place. So I think what I'll do for this one, I might just use my heavier glue. I use 2 glues. I use my Tamiya cement, which is essentially like polystyrene cement in a bottle. And then that enables me to pop some glue onto the part and then bring the part to the model. And then I use either Tamiya extra thin, or this in this case is Plastic Magic. This is your extra thin, and you can run that into recesses through capillary action. So the next step, we want piece number 2, and we also want piece number 1A, which is his head. And you've got to be careful here because it looks like it's quite highly detailed. So I'm going to cut that whole sprue gate off, I think, and then worry about it in a bit more detail. So that nub there, just a bit of an awkward position. There we go. There we go, lovely. Right, so piece number 2, which is his breastplate, that's going in there. And then piece number 1A, oh, that's interesting. We've got piece 1 and we've got piece 15, which are both heads. But I'm going to use piece 1. It's just a plain head. I quite like doing plain heads. When you have a very heavily armoured character, and then he has a helmet as well, I think it looks a little tiny bit samey. Right, I want to see if it's going to be easier to put his head in first. This is the beauty of dry fitting. So if I put his head in first, will I then get the breastplate on? But then if I put the breastplate on first, it's going to make it harder to put that head in. So I think it's going to have to go head first. We'll have a look at attaching the head to the breastplate as well. Yeah, that's going to be... Oh, that's much easier, yes. So attach his head to the breastplate first, and then we'll put the breastplate in. Now this peg is actually triangular shape. So I'm just going to attach a little bit of thin glue to the breastplate. Then bring the head in. Just wait for that to stick. And there we have the head in the breastplate. Then we can attach the breastplate to the model. And I think we're going to have to use thin glue for this. Let that run into the recesses. So 2 stages I've been able to demonstrate 2 different glues. And I just want to get some glue into where his head is. And then that way we'll make sure his head doesn't run away at a later stage. There we go. So that's in place. So on to the next stage. It's only a single piece, which is piece number 8. If I can find it. I cannot find it. 6, 7. There. Can you see now, guys, why I speed up the building? I'm so slow at figuring these out. Right, so it's going to kind of go behind. Oops. Oh, that's a really nice fit, actually. So that's going to go. Let's come in a little bit closer. So that's going in there like that. So I think what we'll do is we'll use our slower drying glue. What I find with this glue, it sticks fairly quickly, but it takes longer to cure. So as you can see, look, there's a strong enough join there, but if I was to pull that off, like, it comes off very easily. it's I suppose the word I'm looking for there is tacky. It goes tacky very quickly, but it does take longer to set. So just a little bit of a rough bit on his arm. He didn't like that. Right, so I've got to just turn the page. So the next stage is we want piece 10 and piece 5. So piece number 10, it looks like a shoulder pad, and again very highly detailed. Lots of detail on there. And 5 looks like his left leg. So it's becoming very actionable now. The pose is really coming in. So the left leg, yeah, that's a really nice shape. Really nice shape. There's only one place you can put this in because of the shape of the leg. And there it is. It's quite a high up. You know, it's quite easy. If you have it at a slight angle like that, it's not going to fit. You really need to bring that up into bring his knee right up to his chest. So I think I'll use my slower drying glue on that one. That just gives me a bit more time. There we go. There we go. Very nice. Now, there is a little stub on his foot. At this stage, I'm not sure. I don't think that stub is meant to be there. I think that is a sprue nub. But I'll keep it on until I get to the base. If it turns out it's not needed, I'll cut it off. Obviously, if I cut it off and it turns out it is needed, we could end up with a problem. Okay, so next we want to put the breastplate on. And that is such a good fit. That is a really good fit. However, I think I've got a sprue nub somewhere, but I can't see one. Right, so what I'm going to do, I have a little bit of a problem. If it's not quite on, can you see that gap at the front? But you can push that right forward. But if you let go, it does try to come back. So what I'm going to do, while pushing that forward, I think I'm going to use my thin glue, and you can actually get it from behind. And then we look for any other connection points, and we just give that little bit extra security. And I don't think that breastplate is going to go anywhere now. There we go, happy with that. Right, so next is piece number 6, which is a small piece, sorry, piece 13 and piece number 6. 6 has got the sword, so that should be easy to find, shouldn't it? Even I can find a sword on a sprue. And that looks a bit awkward there, so I'm just going to cut the whole sprue gate off, and then that gives me a bit more room to just come in and sort that out. Right, so this bit looks a little bit awkward. This looks like maybe... Oh look, this is wonderful. So piece 13 has a little square on it, a little notch, and that fits nicely into that notch there. So these are well engineered, well designed. The trouble is the parts are so small. I have just dropped that, guys, so I'm going to have to do a cut. Okay, that was a little bit of luck. I actually dropped it onto the magazine. Now the problem I've got is that I need the magazine out to read the instructions, but at the same time, if I drop the piece, it falls like, say, on this, you can't see it because of the zoom in, but if I drop the piece round about there, can you see that you can't actually see it very well? So I'm going to handle these with tweezers, because I still haven't done the dry fit yet. I think I'm going to have to put my slow drying glue in. Yes. But once that goes in, that's actually quite a nice fit. So, I really could do with my reverse tweezers. I'm just being lazy, guys. They're packed away in my little drawer. And for the sake of a minute or two, I could get them out and it would make life so much easier. But you know me. But that's gone on fine. That's really, really nice fit. Once that goes in place, that's a beautiful fit. So I would suggest if that doesn't quite feel right, it's probably not right. Okay, so next up is the arm. And arms are quite easy because there's generally only one place they can fit. And that's on the end of the shoulder. Okay, and there is a little diamond shaped piece. So the way I deal with diamond shaped pieces is I will take the arm and I will rotate it until I find a place where it fits nicely, and I still can't find a nice place for this to fit. There. That's the nice place to fit. So I think we're using slow drying glue on the majority of this model. We can just pop a little bit of glue on there, and that just gives us time to find positions that we need. So just pop that on there, and that is easily, I'm probably inventing another new word here, but that's easily knock-offable. But that is really nice. Now we've still got a couple of stages to go, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried because this model is such a busy model, and I'm worried about knocking pieces while it's drying. And if this was one of these units where there's 4 or 5 models, I would perhaps consider suggesting, work on another model for a bit. Right, so we are after piece 11, which is another shoulder pad, and that's quite a nice shoulder pad actually. We also have some leftover pieces. We have another shoulder pad there, another head, and we have a little axe. So, oh, do you know what? I've missed a stage out. Thankfully, the other stage I've missed out is there. How did I miss that stage out? So let's put those parts there. Well, they're safe. So we want piece number 12. So basically, this should have come before the last stage that I've just completed. But I don't think it's going to make a difference. So he's got this small little axe. Maybe it's not a small little axe. Maybe it just feels like a small little axe. Because of the size of the rest of him. Oh, see what I mean? This piece is not glued in yet. I can see I've lost the position. Yeah. Okay. Tell you what, I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to come back to it later. Just let that dry off a bit. It's probably going to make my life a bit easier. Right. So this bit I can't quite figure out. There's no locating tabs. Or is there? There actually is a locating tab, and it's there. It's it looks like it's on his back because of the angle that he's twisted. So I'm just going to put a tiny dab of glue there. Am I still in camera? Yes, I am. There we go. That's gone in okay. It doesn't seem to have anything that positive. Ah, it does now. There we go. That's that. So then, I can see why that wasn't going to fit. I've got a sprue nub on his arm. You know, I think that sprue nub was meant to be there because there is a hole there, but that's not going to be a major problem. We're just going to have to work out. I think his arm is going to go about there. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'll glue this on and then I'm going to leave it for a bit because obviously I've knocked his right arm trying to get his left arm on, and logic dictates that I'm probably going to knock his left arm while I try to put the right arm on. So I will see you in a short space of time when I do. I'm just going to let that dry for a bit. Okay, so I've popped his arms on, I've left them to dry. They're not super dry, they've just been left for about 15 minutes just so that they go nice and hard. So next bit we're going to do is this shoulder pad. It's got a little locating tab on it, as you can probably see, and that's going to go into there. Make sure the line is the correct way round, and I think the easiest way to do this is just pop as accurately as you can. Pop a little bit of glue into that little recess. Doesn't matter if you spill a little bit because it's all going to get covered up. And I did do a dry fitting off camera and I found that this goes in very nicely. In fact, I actually had a little bit of trouble getting it out again. The fit was that good. Okay, so that's his shoulder pad in. And that's really nice. This is such a detailed model. Now this bit, I absolutely loved it when I did the dry fit. So this piece of tunic there, it actually naturally will come down like this. So you see you've got these tassels. But because it's an actionable pose, you can see that he's actually leapt into the position. So of course his tunic has naturally, through gravity, it's still coming, it's following him. So this actually goes on, let's call it upside down. So it's going to go on like that. So if you can imagine, it should be like that. As he's jumped, it's come up and it's gone like that. And it's really, really nice. The drawback is it has to be fitted just right, like that. And it's probably going to be quite tricky to hold in place until the glue is set enough just to grab. So I'm going to put my slow glue on, just popping glue on the ends there like so. Make sure you get enough on but don't swamp it, and then we bring that piece there, and hopefully you're going to get as excited about this as me. I think that'll be enough. There we go. So can you see, look, the way that that has come up as he's leapt through the air, and now he's landed, and it's just that nice, you know, that's a really, really nice fit. Beautiful fit. Really happy with this model. It's got such detail and it's just brilliant. Right, so the last bit, well, I'm calling it the last bit because I've actually mislaid the base. It's not a major thing. I do have limited, as you can tell from the cutting board, I'm in the hotel. And sometimes I have to put things where I can. And let me show you, when I do these magazines, I get them ready and then I put them into the cellophane. So I've got 2 issues in there ready for another video. and obviously what's happened is it's gone like that and the base has slipped out. So the base is somewhere in my hotel room, but this is actually going to go onto a base. So we'll carry on without the base for now, because obviously otherwise I can't make the video. But as you see, it's not, I don't think it's going to affect the final build. Right, so he's going to go, fantastic. So now I'm happy. So this little tiny nub there, it was supposed to be there, because there's a small hole there, and that's where that sprue nub is going to go. So he's going to go in there, and there's only the one nub. So there we go. He goes into there like that. So do we glue him in? I think not. I think we want to blue tack him in, just like the magazine says, because as you can see, painting that base will be a nightmare if he's glued down. So let's get a tiny piece of blue tack, and I always get too much. We'll just pop that piece of blue tack in there. So obviously he's going to get knocked very, very easily. In fact, I'm going to pop a little bit of blue tack onto his other foot as well. Like so. Might even want a third piece where his knee has made contact with the ground. There we go, guys. So that is that model, and that is absolutely amazing. I really am happy with that model. Do you know what? That blue tack on his other foot hasn't really done anything. Right, guys. So, yeah, look, that's not... I think what's probably going to be easier is... also, you need to work the blue tack. I always find that blue tack straight off the packet isn't really that sticky. You just have to kind of work it like you do with plasticine. Just get it a bit molded. So there we go. I really don't want to glue it on. I don't think it's going to be very good if we glue it. I think it'd just be too difficult. That arm's come loose again. There we go. There we go. Right, guys, so what I'm going to do, I've got my 6 models now. What I'm going to do is I will, off camera, I will prime them all black. And then I'll see you when I'm ready for the grey stage of the zenithal highlighting. I'm not going to go into great detail about zenithal highlighting, but I will every now and again, maybe every 2 or 3 videos, I will explain the zenithal highlighting process again. So I'll see you in a minute when these are all black. Righto then, so I have primed these in black, as you can see. So I'm just going to hit them with the grey coat. As you can see, I have invested in some wooden sticks. When I say invested, I do obviously mean stolen from a coffee shop. But don't worry, I didn't go in and just grab them. I did actually buy coffee. So I'm hitting this at a 45-degree angle, and I'm actually having a bit of trouble with my airbrush today, so I've had to really thin the primer down. For some reason it's not going through so well, and I am just focusing on 2 models, although I will be doing all 6. So that's him, and as you can see, some detail has already started to pop, so that's really, really nice. And this one, I'm expecting great things for this. As you see, I'm just hitting at a 45-degree angle. I will go again into detail with the zenithal. Oh, it's coming out nice and thick now. So I might just be tempted to go through the first one again. One of the good things about primer is that it can accidentally go on thick, and it doesn't tend to clog detail too much. Right, so this one has come out really nice. So there he is. Because of the shape of his head, it's cast a bit of shadow down his front, so that's really enabled the detail to pop out. The back is superb. So you can see there's lots of different detail. If you hold him upside down, you can see some really black bits there. So let's go just a quick spray over him. We'll see if we can just improve on him. So remember, we're always coming in from a 45-degree angle. It's very tempting, very, very tempting. For example, this bit, because this goes at an angle, it's very tempting to just go, oh yeah, I just want to get under there. Don't. You really want to create those shadows. So that's him after a grey pass. Actually, I just want to... This is quite interesting because I don't know if I've missed the base. No, see, look, some of the base, because of the amount of detail on it, it's really cast that shadow. Right, so I'm going to just do the others, and then I'll see you for the white section. So I'd really like to bring this guy into focus, because when I started to do the grey highlighting on him, because he's got so much going on, I think his detail is amazing. And because he's got this arched back, it creates so much shadow behind, and can you see all that detail being picked up. So I do want to bring him into focus while I do the white, and the white is just ever so simple. It's just purely hitting it from the top, and then that will just pick up all the top detail. Now I have had to thin this white. I'm just having trouble with the airbrush. I think the needle is just very, very small. It's very good if you're doing detail work, but it doesn't work so well if you're doing just sort of basing work. So it also means that I've got to go over extra coats. But this white has really brought them to life. Do you know what? I'm going to do all 6 of them, because the white stage is very, very simple. It's just a very quick spray, just to pick all the very top bits. There we go. Right, I think that will do it. So now we've got the white on, it gives us a really nicely shaded model. Can you see the detail on that sword has really come up, and you've got the white on the top, but it's grey underneath, and right deep on the back it's black, and it's really up in his cloak there. This is absolutely beautiful model, but yeah, the zenithal highlighting really does help pick out all those details. I was going to go over this with a shade to pick those details out, but I really don't think it's necessary. Let me find my tweezers. Can you see he's got all these kind of buttons going down there, some kind of studs. If that was an aeroplane, they would be rivets. But look how much detail has come out on there, and all the notches in the staff. His Krew has come out very nicely, very white on the top, very dark underneath. Now obviously he's going to be painted black, but if you apply nice thin coats, you're going to get kind of a shaded effect with that. So that's really lovely model. This is probably my new favourite. The way that the details, look at the detail on the chain, and this part there, his head is lovely, and his back detail, you can see those individual plates really nicely and all these small dots, and it's really, this highlight is really going to help us paint, because we can sometimes, when I've painted models before, I've painted things and then the details started to show as I've painted it, and I'm like, I've done that the wrong colour because that's not what I thought it was. So that is obviously some kind of big net, and you can see the way they've moulded the detail into the base. So I think I asked you the question earlier on, do you like these moulded bases, or do you like the plain bases where you can add your own detail to them? But these moulded bases are very nice, and I think they are suitable for this kind of character. Look at the detail on the back there. Because there's that much detail, the zenithal highlighting hasn't been able to hit these lower areas. But yeah, so if I had my own plain bases, obviously I'd try and go to town on them. But I think with these particular models, they've worked very well. These smaller models have really benefited from the zenithal highlighting, because there's so much detail packed into such a tiny area. It's created so many nooks and crannies. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. Right, guys, so that is issue... do you know, I've forgotten the issue numbers. I think that's issue 18 and 19. Yes. So, next week is going to be quite a toughie. Normally when we do 2 issues, we normally do 1 issue if there's a paint issue coming up. We do 2 issues if there isn't, and we end up doing 2 units. But this is what we're going to do next week. This is a 2-part issue. So this is a, see if I can try not to butcher this, marsh crawler. So it's a marsh crawler sloggoth, and it's a big old beast. You can see you've got 3 of these just on top of there. And I will look forward to painting that one day in the future. I love to paint wood. I learned a very good trick off somebody. I'm going to take that further. When I come round to painting it, I'm going to take that further than the magazine suggests. I cannot remember the name of the website, but there was a website that taught me if you get things like red paints and green paints and you seriously thin them down to kind of a wash stage and beyond, and just give that a little bit of a wash when it's painted, it gives it a nice aged look. So yeah, so as I say, issue 20 and 21 will be a 2-parter, which will help me. I can just go straight in and build it, but it's going to be a complicated one. It's going to be a lot to build, but it should be fun. So guys, as always, thank you for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If I could ask you a favour, if you could hit the like button, that helps the algorithm. And also, if you could watch, if you do find any videos, you know, maybe you don't like all of my videos, that's absolutely fine. But if I could just ask you a favour and just watch an extra 30 seconds and then switch it off if you're going to switch it off, and that will really help me get my watch hours up. And hopefully I can offer new features to my channel a lot sooner. So that's it, guys. That's what we're doing next week. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.